Have you ever looked at a giant company and just wondered, how do they tell the world if they're actually doing well? Beyond the slick ads and the big announcements. Well, they have a very specific, very formal way of doing it. And that's what we're going to unpack right now, the company financial report. I mean, really think about it. How do you actually get the real story? Past all the hype, all the marketing, how do you know if a company is truly on solid ground? The answer, as you might have guessed, is buried in their financial reporting. And this quote from CFO Maria Malone just nails it. At the end of the day, it's all about accountability, right? People pour their hard-earned money into a business, and they deserve to know what's happening with it. These reports are the company's way of answering that exact question. Okay, so let's get into it. The easiest way to think about a financial report is just like a report card from school, but instead of for a student, it's for a massive, multi-million, or even billion-dollar company. Now, there are two really important ideas here: formal process and for outsiders. This isn't just some casual blog post. It's a regulated, super structured release of the most vital information. Things like profits, losses, what they own, what they owe. And it's all published so that anyone outside the company can take a look and see how healthy it is. So if financial reporting is the report card, what are the subjects that are being graded? Well, that brings us to the three key documents that make up the heart of pretty much any report. These are the big three, the pillars of the whole thing. First, the profit and loss account. Think of it like your monthly budget at home. It shows all the money that came in versus all the money that went out to see if you actually made a profit. Then you've got the balance sheet, which is more like a snapshot in time. On this one day, here's everything we own and here's everything we owe. And finally, the cash flow statement is just like looking at your bank account. It tracks the actual physical cash moving in and out. Put them all together and you get a really complete picture. Now, these reports don't just drop out of the sky whenever a company feels like it. Nope. They run on a very strict schedule, a financial calendar that everybody in the market is watching. And this rhythm, this predictability, is absolutely crucial for investors. So for a typical UK company, their financial year might end, say, March 31st. Pretty soon after that, they'll release what are called prelims. It's like an early sneak peek at the numbers. Then, 6 months into their new year, they publish interims, which is kind of like a halfway point check-in. And then, a few months later, the big one arrives, the full, super detailed annual report. It's this constant cycle of updates that keeps everyone in the loop. And this is where you see a pretty interesting difference if you look across the pond. UK companies give that detailed update every 6 months. But in the US, companies are on a much faster schedule. They publish their results every single quarter, so every 3 months. That means investors in US companies are getting more frequent official updates on how things are going. Okay, so the company is cranking out all this information on a regular schedule. But who is actually sitting down and reading these things? And what are they looking for? I mean, why does this all matter so much? Well, it matters a whole lot to the people who put up the money that keeps the lights on. And you can basically break them down into three main groups. You've got shareholders who own a little piece of the company. You've got bondholders who've lent the company money. And then you have your traditional lenders, like banks. And here's the key thing to understand. Each of these groups has a totally different stake in the game. Shareholders give the company money to grow, and they're hoping to get paid back through dividends or by the stock price going up. Bondholders and lenders, on the other hand, are just giving out loans. They're not looking for a piece of the action. They just want to get their money back with interest. So all three groups are reading these reports like hawks to make sure the company's healthy enough to pay them back. All right, this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, it's the most exciting part. Because these reports aren't just homework for accountants. No way. They have immediate, real-world consequences, especially on the stock market. This is the bottom line, right here. The numbers printed in that annual report can literally make or break fortunes overnight. The second those results come out, traders and investors pounce, buying or selling shares based on whether the news is good or bad. It's actually pretty simple. It all comes down to expectations. If a company reports profits that are way better than everyone thought they'd be, that's a huge signal of strength. Investors see that and think, hey, this company is doing great, so they rush to buy shares, and all that demand pushes the price up. It's the market giving a big thumbs up. And you guessed it, the exact opposite happens when a company misses those expectations. If the results are a disappointment, investors get spooked. They worry the company is in trouble, so they start selling their shares to avoid losing more money. And that selling pressure makes the price drop.
So, we've seen that these reports are this incredible window into a company's health, its performance, and its promises to the people who fund it. But that leaves us with one last, really big question to chew on. At their core, financial reports are a look in the rearview mirror. They tell the story of what's already happened. So the question is, how much can a history lesson, even a really detailed one, truly tell us about the future?